Welcome back, fight fans, to another edition of Rush Diet's Sports Top List. Today we will examine the 15 greatest female wrestlers of all time. The Glamazon burst into the wrestling scene with a combination of power, wrestling acumen, and grace, and set a new standard in wrestling during the Ruthless Aggression era. Largely underrated as a performer, in part due to the way female performers were viewed in the States at the time, she no less brought that kind of intensity to every match that was main event worthy. The words power and grace are inevitably what define Beth Phoenix. Natalya Neidhart is a technical savant. Coming out of the vaunted Hart Dungeon, this third-generation superstar's no-nonsense approach to her craft has given us timeless matches through two different eras in wrestling. A sound mat technician, Natalya's greatness can be defined by how naturally her matches flow and her ability to make even the greenest novice look like pure gold. The Man, as she is known, makes this list based on the most recent incarnation of her character. Once the veneer of a fun-loving lass kicker was peeled back, Lynch was able to solidify herself as the premier female performer, made evident by her main event status in the Show of Shows. A long winding road to success assured that once she had a hold of her dream, it would have to be pried from her cold, dead hands. Victoria, or Tara as some know her, could be one of the most underrated female performers of her time. Her unique blend of technical wrestling, power, and a flair for the dramatic made her matches must-watch TV. Her heel work, in my opinion, was her best work ever, always bringing a great physique to go along with a style that was adaptable to any opponent. She was easily one of the greatest wrestlers of her time. Bull Nakano was a heavyweight, man or woman, often tipping the scales at over 200 pounds. She was a true power wrestler. She would woman-handle her opponents with soul-crushing power slams and various power moves that even men would be hard-pressed to execute. Her battle with Alundra Blaze and 1994 SummerSlam made stateside fans aware of the potential of women on the marquee. Gail Kim should be credited as one of the foremothers of the women's revolution in wrestling. She was carving out a history for herself in an era where women's wrestling was viewed very differently than it is today. Nevertheless, Kim held fast in her approach and was unapologetic about showing the world that she could be tough as nails and wrestle pretenders under the table. A trailblazer through action, her career is deserving of Hall of Fame status. The longevity of Mae Young's career is more than enough to put her on this list. A true pioneer and tough as nails, her career, which started in the 30s and spanned decades, saw her go through various evolutions in women's wrestling. Even into her golden years, she was still being put out through tables and taking bumps better than some of the best today. A sight to behold. Wendy Richter, in the eyes of many, was the female face of the 80s rock and wrestling era. But what was more impressive was her outspoken leadership as she navigated through the uncharted waters of equality in wrestling. An amazing performer with the ability to captivate the crowd with her words, she no doubt added another dimension to women's wrestling and opened even more doors for future performers. Women's wrestling's first badass, Alundra Blaze, or Medusa as some knew her, was never going to be second fiddle to anyone, man or woman. In her short time at the top, not only did she make a splash, she made waves that shook up wrestling with her contributions to the Monday Night Wars. Misused for much of her time in the now-defunct WCW, she still had plenty of matches that made her an icon in the world of women's wrestling. Mickie James is a surefire Hall of Famer whose accomplishments in the squared circle are truly inspirational. Having some of the best wrestling matches of any woman in wrestling history, James's career is defined by her great matches with the who's who of women's wrestling. Her battles with Trish Stratus, Lita, and Gail Kim, just to name a few, were wrestling clinics that any coach would have his pupils study and analyze. Although this entry on the list comes with its fair share of controversy, it is still important to acknowledge the contributions made by the fabulous Moolah in the squared circle. Brutal in her approach and displaying the kind of violent nature which would make her the one to watch for most of her career, in which she was a mainstay in the championship picture. While her legacy has been somewhat tarnished as of late, there will never be any doubting her accomplishments inside the ring. This fan-favorite woman wrestler comes in at number 4 on our list. Executing high-flying moves with the greatest of ease and beauty, Lita made sure that when she performed, you would have to stand up and take notice. Everything about her was different. Her look, her wrestling style, and her flair for matching and topping her male counterparts in extreme moments. She is a true icon that will never be duplicated. Her epic rivalry with Trish Stratus made for some amazing matches and commanded the type of respect that would change women's wrestling for the better. Trish Stratus was a glimpse into the future of women's wrestling. Great presence, charisma to spare, and an undeniable class and style made her perfect for ushering a new level of wrestling in the ruthless aggression era. Multifaceted and thus creating instant value as a performer, not only was her in-ring ability top-notch, but her gift of elevating anyone she was angled with at the time made her not only a great champion, but a one-of-a-kind persona that still inspires to this day. Charlotte Flair is high on this list because of the sheer force she has become in wrestling. A true natural, you would be hard-pressed to find a bad Charlotte match. Amazing athleticism, strength, and agility combined with great technical prowess, she truly has all the tools. Already a Hall of Famer in my humble opinion, Charlotte will no doubt be one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, male or female, before her career is over. The ninth wonder is one for the ages. As the great Jim Ross said, when they made China, they broke the mold. There has never been anything like China, and there never will be anything like her again. Not satisfied with her dominance over her counterparts, she started aiming for other titles in the industry, winning Intercontinental Gold, the only woman to do so. She was also the first woman to compete in the Royal Rumble, as well as the King of the Ring tournament. China's exploits, from the beginning to the end of her career, are worthy of any top spot on any list. Did I miss any out? Please leave a comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the little bell for notifications. Have a great day and keep punching.